Hi, welcome back to this YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be flying this business jet, the Cessna Citation from Grosse Ile, Michigan to Mackinac Island, Michigan, and it's basically the full length of the state. So let's get right into it. Alright, starting out, it's a nice morning, beautiful. About 9 a.m. in the morning on Grosse Ile. In Grosse Ile, right here on the tarmac. And flight services, check. At least those ones. Looks like I have a warning. It says I have the parking brake on. We can handle that. And so, I'm going to give it full throttle. Parking brake off. Plenty of acceleration in this business jet. There's a little bump right here for some reason. I don't know what it's all about. Oh, I didn't get it. Last time I flew out of here, there was a little bump in the runway. Okay, so gear up. Holding about 10 degrees of positive climb, positive angle of attack. Plenty of clouds today. There's like a little mist layer, like it's a cloud layer, but it's misty. So I'm going to turn on the autopilot. So I'm hands off. Vertical speed. Now I'm totally hands off. That's interesting right there. That's, I suppose, part of the Grosse Ile. I might have to check on Google Maps and see what all that's about. It's pretty interesting. So, I think I'll put a positive rate of climb in. I got the vertical speed on. Now I'm going to set the rate, let's see, yeah, positive. At 1,600 feet, 1,700 feet a minute, 1615. Then I'm going to hit nav, and that's going to have us follow this line down here. This purple line is the route to the destination. So now you can see that we're in a bank. I could set half bank if I wanted to, if I wanted it to be more gradual, but I'll just leave it. So we are climbing and aligning with our course. Now the only thing I have to worry about is not going too fast. And since we're climbing, that's not going to happen. But if I was to level out, it's possible that I would overspeed. Quite the view. Nothing I haven't seen before, but still, it's hard not to appreciate it. Beautiful Michigan at 9 a.m. Lots of clouds today. This is live weather and traffic. You can see the other people flying today. I believe it also includes the live traffic in reality. But this is also including the live players. Very long draw distance here. You can see those houses are painting in right now, all the way down there. The simulator works very hard. It's interesting how sometimes a cloud gets so dark like that. I suppose it's in the shadow of another cloud. It'd have to be it. Yeah, kind of like down here. So now we're banking to align with our navigation route. Alright, now that we have some altitude, I'm going to set a final altitude. Now we're already at 10,000 feet, climbing very quickly. So I'm going to press altitude hold, and that'll give us our little indicator here. And then I'll boost that up to 20,000 feet. I'm going to go 20,000 feet. We'll go 22. $22,000 feet. Now I have to reassign the vertical speed. Get that in there. Now we'll climb to 22,000 feet. This will taper off and then vertical speed will go away. And I have to reset it if I want it back. Wow, look at that. This sun, the way it's coming in and only illuminating half of the ground there, that really looks real. So we're in a business jet. You can see there's plenty of places for people to sit. Luckily today I was able to just take it out for a joyride. This thing, it drinks fuel, so that's quite the privilege. Look, there's a rainbow. Must be raining out there. Lots of vapor. It's in that cloud layer. Alright, coming up on 12,000 feet now. Still have plenty of time. I'll definitely be wanting to check the throttle once we get tapered off at the top, leveled off. There's that rainbow again. It's interesting. Quite a view from this height. You can see on one side of that road it's pretty well industrialized, and on the other side it just goes to like agriculture or just lots. It's pretty interesting. Suppose you could work on one side and live on the other. There's somebody going fast. Looks like there's a little bit of ice on the window, so I'm going to go ahead and de-ice everything. Pitot tube, engine de-ice, inert step on. Okay, we'll take that. $15,000 feet and climbing. So they did an update 7, and I'm able to use motion controls now for the flight yoke and all the controls, and I tried it, and I think it would be fine for a lot of aircraft, especially slower aircraft. But I went up in the F-18, and it was a little twitchy. On the look. If you look out the window and you're using the motion controls, just moving your torso a little bit can move the stick. And in a slower aircraft, it's not an issue, but in an F-18, if you're really close to the ground, it's not fine enough control for that type of flying. And also, you have to have, if you have inside-out tracking, your hand needs to be well tracked. And so the motion controls are excellent for looking forward and having the yoke in front of you and flying a slower aircraft, or just getting off the ground and putting on autopilot. It's great, and I think it's wonderful that they added it. I have no problem. You can always use any other kind of controller, so it's all in addition. It's not a change, just extra. But that's awesome. But every time they do an update, there's like massive bugs introduced that I don't see how they could miss. Like the first time I used update 7, there was my objectives for flight were introduced for some reason. I never used that, so I wouldn't have that on my settings to be open, but it was open. And you always use VR, so I went right into VR, and I can't take the objectives down with VR. I couldn't use the mouse to do it. I couldn't use the motion controls to do it. Nothing would do it. So I had to come out of VR, go flat screen, then do it. Then it would work. Then go back into VR. So there was a workaround, so I'm okay. It's not like the other time when they did an update on update 5, or I think it was update 5, nothing worked. I wouldn't load, and it wanted me to do re-download it every time, and then it wouldn't work, and it asked me to re-download it again, and it wouldn't work. It was telling me there was essential packages missing, and the downloader wouldn't bring these packages. So that was a huge bug on 5. 6 worked, but there was there was something with that one. I forget. It wasn't game breaking though. And now this one, there's that. And then also, if I press tab in VR, I can't fuel myself back up. Like normally, you can go into tab, and then you can get to the fuel and fill your fuel up, and I can't do that in VR. I have to go out on the flat screen, fill my fuel up, and then go back into VR. So those are huge. I don't see it's how does that happen? I don't understand how those types of things get introduced, or if they just want to hear the words out of my mouth about that. I mean, it just seems like, how does that happen? I don't understand that when you do an update, you don't go take all the planes up and see if they work on all the functions that people are going to use. Like now, if one of these buttons doesn't work somewhere on the GPS or something, well, they already don't work, and there's one more button that doesn't. But something like filling up your fuel, or having menus open when you start that you can't take down, just all the very basic operability of what you're going to be doing, it seems like it's not checked. Like, how do they not try the simulator out themselves? At the end of the day, I worked all day long on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm going to go fly Microsoft Simulator, or I know someone who flies it. I know someone that flies and uses our program, and they said this. That would be cool if they knew people that flew it, because if anybody flies it, they would see what the issues are. Within, like, it's not even something that you play for a couple days and you find something. It's something you find within half an hour. So I don't understand why these bugs are being introduced, or not, or how they're happening accidentally. I don't know, but there was that with this update. And instead of being really happy when they update, it's always like, oh man, am I going to get to play? Luckily, I mean, it's like they made a deal with X-Plane so that we would all go by X-Plane. And that's too bad. But visually speaking, This simulator is excellent. I really enjoy it. And I do get the GPS, the navigation system here to work. Even though you can't land and reprogram it. One of the planes I was able to land and press a button that would allow me to put in coordinates or the call sign for a different airport, and then the navigation showed how to get to the next place, and I was able to fly, fill up my fuel, because at the time that worked in VR with update, I think it was 6. And then I was able to fill the fuel, and then, and maybe those are the words they want to hear. With 6 that you can get fuel, and with 7 you can't, or some, I don't know. I don't even want to go there. But, you know, sometimes when you're saying something, it's because that's what they want to have said sometimes. But I'm not really wanting, this is too beautiful to be malicious. Too beautiful. I don't want to. But you just wonder, how the heck does that happen to where these huge bugs, and then last time there was like a thread, when we couldn't get in, there was a thread that went on for a month. And none of us were able to play for a month. So it's tough times, and it's not an issue now. I'm up in the air. I have workarounds for the problems that I see now. So, and there are motion controls added, which is super cool. Because if you don't feel like messing around with anything and you have 2 controls in your hands, like if you're playing a different game, you can quickly switch to Microsoft Flight Simulator and just continue on with your motion controls and keep that immersion that you're applying to other games and bring them into this game. So we're at 22,000 feet. My vertical speed is turned off now and is holding. Altitude hold now at 22,000. I was at 3/4 throttle. Could probably throttle up a little bit. Gears up. Flaps are down. I just thought it was going a little slow. Okay. We had 15-degree flaps. That must have been from how it was set when I took off. I thought I got up kind of quick. Anyway, complaints aside, what a beautiful day in Microsoft Flight Simulator. If they could do an update that would really, really knock this one out of the park, it would be to allow other people to ride with you. To have your girlfriend able to sit shotgun if she has a high-end PC, or even a medium tier from your last build or something, you know. But it's good enough that she could dial up as friends and sit in the front as co-pilot, or even better, sit in the back in one of the back seats of the business jet, because then you can take off from an airport that you know and fly to a destination that you know. Okay, there's overspeed. I'm gonna kill the throttle. Now I don't know what the logistics are in that. I'm really impressed by this simulator already. So, but if it's just gonna render a situation, it would even be really good, nice with avatars. You could look over and talk while you're flying. You could set the autopilot, sit back, and you could have heart-to-heart for 2 or 3 hours while looking out the window, especially if it's things, you know, you're flying over areas that you do plan to visit. Say you're going to save for 3 years for a vacation. Well, for those 3 years, you can take the flight that it's going to be to get there. You know, say you're going to Cancun or something, you can every once in a while get in there and fly. And it's also nice to relax in Microsoft Flight Simulator and go in the back seat. And actually, sometimes I've taken a nap. I'll set the autopilot or put on the AI pilot to where it just flies itself. Put in a destination, have it fly itself, and then you can actually move and move back there Sometimes it'll let you. It depends on the plane, but you can actually use the keyboard to move. I wonder if this one will do it. I'm going to try this one. You can move with the keys up and down and left and right, but if you press Alt, it goes back. But see, this one stops right here. It won't let you go any further. But the King Air 350 or 300, whatever that one is, it's a default plane. That one I can get into the back seat, and even at dusk, and it's really relaxing. I've actually nodded off just like I would in a real airplane. Now I definitely make sure not to do that in the pilot seat, because I wouldn't want to start that as a like a stigma, or whatever you call that, stimulus, like something you've done before and makes you want to do it more, like falling asleep to a fan or something like that. I wouldn't want to do that where sitting in the pilot seat makes me sleepy, so I don't do it in the pilot seat. But you can get into the back, and then I would be in a more comfortable chair. I would go in the back, and then I would sit into like an easy chair, and then just lay back and put a blanket on so it feels like the heat's kicking. And you can have, I mean, this is personal to me, but they should incorporate that to where you can fly people. You can even have flights that are on a server where someone's going to be the pilot, and you can decide to get on the airplane with them and sit in the back and see what it's like. I've seen some videos online where people were doing something similar to that, but I haven't seen that function in the simulator. So if there is and I don't know about it, yes, definitely, if you know of that, please tell me in the comments. But so far I haven't seen anything like that. It was here's the F-18. I think he's diving. I'll have to check the mods. A lot of times things that you desire in a video game are being incorporated by modding, changing the code. I'll have to check that out. But I think that would be a really nice addition, because some people just aren't pilots, but they do enjoy the simulator. They would like to, but they don't like to drive a car that much. You know, getting on the freeway is work, and then get home, and doing more controlling of large machinery does not seem like a fun thing. So if you have somebody that's willing to do the work, but you can go along for the ride, and you do enjoy relaxing. You know, there's really nothing like having having a drink in VR, like not necessarily an alcoholic drink, because I don't do that, but say you have a glass of pop or something and you have a straw. Somehow it helps me connect with the environment better when I'm consuming something, chewing on something or having a little bit of pop or something, some cold ice water, sip it through a straw with the headset on. It adds an effect that's hard to describe. It just seems more, that's something you're used to doing when you go somewhere, and you know, it's kind of like tasting the food. But if you sit in the back of the jet and have a little pop through a straw, it's pretty fun, actually. It creates an effect. 27 miles left to go. This flight's going pretty fast. In fact, I think I'm going to already start to descend, because at 280 knots, things happen quick. So I'm going to take my altitude and I'm going to start sending that down. This is the setting right here. This is the dial. So I'm going to take us down to 3,000 feet. I'm going to go vertical speed. How fast do I want to get there? We'll go 1,000 feet a minute or so. We should get a little bit of speed out of it. I might have to back off the throttle a bit. You'll see the clouds update a little bit here and there. You know, we're perceptual beings, and if you spend a lot of time in the simulator, this is your perception. This is the world. You know, it's you can have a day in VR. The quality is just getting really high now. Granted, I have a high-end PC pushing this experience, but I think it's like 32 billion transistors, I think. So it's just a silly amount. And look at how much is being computed. I don't know if silly is the right word. It's awesome. That's the right word. Truly awesome. The simulator is just really knocked it out of the park. There's things they could fix. They could make these GPSs work better. The avionics could have all the buttons work in the cabin, but if you like flight, now if you get in airplanes just to get where you're going and it's a hassle, then this probably would be a hassle to sit in. I've always enjoyed flying though myself, and just flight in general as a kid fascinated me. Did a lot of modeling. Always stopped at the airplanes. My knees stopped working. Couldn't walk anymore. I remember Toys R Us had the little 049 ones, and they had remote control ones, and they even had a little electric ones that were pretty decent size. They were like $200 back then. I remember $229. That was back in like the 80s. But it was just differential torque. What is that? The propeller spin faster on one side. Thrust differential, which is not a real great system for being able to control the aircraft. You can get it to bank and you can get it to go up and down, but you're not going to land it on a dime or anything. Still pretty curious about them though. I was a kid that knew what I wanted. A lot of kids these days, you ask them what they want, and they got 3 letters for you. I don't know. IDK. I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. It's cool to see that little valley of clouds, and then you can see the land in between. Every once in a while you see something really, really cool. Just the way it's all set up. Like the Bob Ross comes out of me a little bit. In 3 dimensions, it really sets it off. Getting through a thick cloud here. So we're in a Cessna, but it's not like a 170, like a business jet. It's only jittery because of my mouse. I got it on my knee. You can see we sped up quite a bit here, close to overspeed. "70 nautical miles, 13,000 feet. I'm sure a pilot would easily be able to figure out what to set this vertical speed to get to their desired altitude before their destination. That's something I'm beginning to be able to eyeball, but I think you could probably do a math equation, speed versus what to get the proper vertical speed, descent or ascent, to get to a certain height before a certain distance. But we have 100 and some nautical miles, or wait, no, 65 nautical miles left. So we had 120 or so, and now we're halfway down basically. So if anything, I'll be able to kick the vertical speed up a little bit and get there. But it's, I think, the descent is by time. It's per minute. So I think if I slow down, I'll just descend faster. Well, I'll descend at the same rate, but it won't be going as far. It used to be when you press the mouse wheel, the scroll button on the mouse down, that this pointer would go away. So if you wanted to just get rid of it for a while, you could press that. Now when I press it, it does this weird thing. It goes away, but it also like huddles down a little bit. And I press it again, it goes back up. Mouse is still gone though, so that's good. But it didn't used to do that. So these updates, there's always something thrown in. This one ducks down. I guess that's like go chill or something. I don't know. At least you can get rid of the mouse. Now the mouse is still there. So I don't know. Looks like it just goes away if you don't use it. I'm not sure if you can see the same mouse that I see though, because sometimes the one on the social screen can be different. Sometimes it just hangs in the middle of the screen. There's nothing you can do about it. I can't see it, so. Looks like we're getting a lot closer to the ground now. Quite a few lakes here. Small inland lakes. Looks like the ground is turning white. I think that's snow. It's the first time I've seen snow in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Looks like a little bit of an update there. I have all my anti-ice on, so don't have to worry about that. Northern Michigan gets a lot of snow. Southern Michigan gets an inch or two, they get a foot or two. And once it starts falling, it doesn't melt here periodically, it's just builds up. And there's lakes everywhere, and huge lakes on either side. So it's a little bit like living in Canada. It's right next door. Be a nice place to have a really nice gaming PC and a very nice VR headset. Spend some time by a nice campfire and play some VR. A lot of people are trying to stake a claim into VR, and I'm surprised somebody hasn't named their company VR, you know. Wow, look at this lake. That's interesting, the shape. Almost looks like a Santa hat or something. Yeah, if anybody had any sense, they would just name their company VR, so that when anybody says VR, they think that they're talking about their company. And then that would just bring in all kinds of business. And then they could just be basically the only one because they named their company what it is, virtual reality. Just virtual reality, the company. It almost sounds generic, but you know, once you conquered the market, took the name, put a bunch of money behind it. I don't know, it could be looked at as naive a little bit if you did that, so probably not. Right here we are at 3,000 feet. It almost seemed millennial. I guess I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't knock millennials. $2,700 I put it at. The actual ground level is not zero. If I were to hit the ground, it would probably be at like 1,800 feet, like maybe 1,600 feet or 1,500 feet. So we're probably at about 700 feet right now in reality. 2,000 feet might be zero, I'm not sure exactly, but somehow you can set that with the barometer if you know exactly where you're at. But this, you know, this is not sea level here, so it is what it is. Not exactly sure how that works, how you know what the elevation is. I'm sure it's in the charts somewhere. It's an interesting little plot of land. Looks like a solar panel. Alright, so 17 miles to go still. Get into winter wonderland here. It's a lot bigger lake. I might be getting toward the tip of Lake Michigan, or Michigan itself. Getting into one of the lakes here. Maybe Huron? I don't know. It's interesting how they're doing this. I think that's water, and that's halfway frozen out and snowed on. That's something, when they can recreate that and know when that's happening. That's pretty special. They did a good job. If that is actually happening in reality, that's amazing. There is a mod that you can use with this program, and it will use Google Maps instead of Bing Maps to update. And I hear that Google Maps is updated more regularly, and it's more up to date. It's interesting that this is thawed right here. I wonder why that is, and if that's true. And if so, some nice cottages out here. Not sure how you make money on an area of land like that, but if you do, it's got to be swell right there. Not sure if that's one of the islands. There's like a Beaver Island and some other islands over here. Not sure which one that is. That could be Beaver Island. I think Beaver Island is more to the west. Anyway, we're coming up on our landing. You can see all of this is going on here, so I'm going to start slowing down. We still have a little bit of time. I'm going to put on some flaps. That's full flaps. Whoa. Wow. Okay, now I got to give it some throttle or else we'll die. Because those flaps really need some power to, or else it'll fall out of the sky. Okay, landing gear, you can have that. I'm going to drop the altitude just a hair. About a 23. Vertical speed down to it. I still have time. It's going to make this turn. The landing should be elevated a bit. The island itself has cliffs almost on all sides, and they're like 100 feet, 150, 200 feet tall. So I can stay a little bit higher. I should be able to eyeball it when I get close, as long as I can see it, you know. I'm still relying on these instruments, especially with all these clouds. Now there is a approach mode right there, and I don't know, that's autopilot. Approach mode right there. I don't know how to use that. I'm not sure what that does, if that controls your rate of descent or exactly what, but you see people put that on and then last minute turn everything off and land. And they'll turn approach mode off like right at the end of the runway. We should be making our turn here shortly. Start to bank to the left. Anytime now. Is nav on? Nav's on. Ready for a bank. Anytime now. There we go. Wow, that's a late bank. Maybe there's some wind. Gonna crab in or something? I don't know. What a beautiful sky. Those high-level clouds look amazing. Alright. Believe it or not, I still have 8 miles to go. But I'm going 150 knots, so I only get so much. I'm going to come down a little bit more. $2,000 now. Vertical speed down. 1,000 feet. I gotta get underneath this cloud, or else I'm not gonna be able to see anything. More than that. I'm gonna go 18 now. Coming up fast. Gear down, flaps up, flaps down. $1,800 feet. Probably about 400 actual. These clouds are just putting me out. There's our runway. You can see the light blinking. As soon as I can see it, I'll bring it in manual. Alright, I think I got it. Autopilot disconnect. Well, it's coming in pretty straight already. This is a tourist destination. Have a lot of old history. You can take the ferry from St. Ignace and come over, and there's just like a little village. And there's like a fort that was used. Okay, throttle down. This is how they get all their supplies, and there's no motor vehicles here. I don't think they're allowed. They use horses and bikes. And there's like a big road that goes all the way around the outside of it. Whoa. Good place for a date. Looks like I stalled it before I landed. I probably shouldn't have gone more than 10 degrees angle of attack, so I'll remember that for future landings. I was kind of thinking about a time I had coming here actually, and I took the ferry over and we had a great time. Rode the bikes. You can rent a bike. In fact, I think I'll go around and show the island a little bit. It's a tourist destination. You can buy clothes. It's known for its fudge. There's like 5 fudge shops. They're probably all owned by the same person, but I'll go up and show it off real quick. There's a little neighborhood. You can buy a house here. So that's the airport. But here you can see the road. It goes all the way around. Well, you can rent a bike and ride all the way around the island. And there's a pretty good cliff around most of it. There's some trails you can go through, and there's like a little shop halfway all the way around. You can get cheese sticks. You get 3 cheese sticks for $7, and they have a line. You can use a bathroom and get 3 cheese sticks for $7, and a pop is like $8. So you spend between 2 people, you get 3 cheese sticks and a pop, and it's like $35 after tax. But there's a well-known hotel here where you have to wear a tuxedo. I think they provide it. I'm not sure. But so you can see the cliff here. Pretty steep. But you have to. And then they serve you, and they have like the 5 forks and make you feel like royalty. So it's a good place if you're getting married, you know, or something like that. But I think that's St. Ignace, or maybe not. But there's like a bridge that comes over or something. Maybe that's somewhere else. But here's the meat and potatoes right here. This is the tourist destination right here. Neighborhood's there on the left. This is like the downtown area. That's the majority of it right there. I think I have a video of me actually flying out of St. Ignace. One of my videos is we had somebody fly us. So that's some more of tourism, and then over here is the neighborhood where people actually live. Back up this way. I think one of these houses is for sale if you look on Zillow right now. Come up this way. This is still touristy up until here, and then right here it goes into where you can. This is where the people that work here live. And if you have money, you can live there too. You don't have to work here, but if you just have money somehow. And then that is, I'm not sure what. That looks like a nice little area you don't see. So now I gotta land this puppy again. Hopefully I can do so. I gotta stay in VFR. Suppose I could turn nav on again. Go further out and turn on nav. Well, let's see if I can just do this. Fast enough, turn off the throttle. There you go. Mixed up for last time. So we got taxi on back. Looks like there's a subsonics meet today. Hope I'm clearing my wing. I think that guy would say something if I wasn't. Alright, so the flight was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. I stopped talking for a little while just to enjoy the clouds. It was very relaxing. It was an event for me. It was really very enjoyable. I'm glad you were able to tag along and see how beautiful Microsoft Flight Simulator is and how accurate it is in reproducing the real world. But that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Always remember you could shop in my eBay store, GB Hatchery. Other than that, I hope you're safe and healthy, and I will see you in the next video.